The clock in Marcus Hale's apartment struck midnight with a low, hollow chime that seemed to echo deeper than usual. He was alone, as always, nursing a lukewarm beer and staring at the wall where his shadow stretched long and thin from the single lamp behind him. Marcus was 38, a night shift security guard who'd spent years watching empty buildings, convinced the world moved without him. Tonight felt different. The air had weight, like it was holding its breath. He noticed it first as a flicker. His shadow twitched, not the lamp swaying, not a draft. The dark outline of his slumped shoulders shifted independently, as though stretching its arms while he kept his still. Marcus froze. The shadow turned its head, slowly, deliberately, and looked straight at him. Two empty eyes stared back from the wall, blacker than the absence of light. He laughed once, nervously, then stopped when the shadow laughed too. A soundless mime of his own nervous chuckle, heart hammering. Marcus stood. The shadow stood with him, but taller, broader, edges sharpening into something predatory. It peeled itself off the wall with a soft tearing noise, like wet paper ripping, and stepped onto the floor. Solid, real. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. Marcus backed toward the door. Every other shadow in the apartment, the chairs, the tables, the coat racks, began to stir. They rose like smoke-given bones, silent and hungry. The street lamp outside threw long rectangles through the blinds. Those two detached and slithered across the carpet toward him. He ran. The hallway was worse. Neighbors' apartment shadows had escaped under doors, pooling in the corridor like spilled ink. A woman's silhouette, probably Mrs. Delgado from 4B, stretched across the ceiling, fingers elongating into claws. Marcus sprinted for the stairs, but his own shadow, now separate and pursuing, reached out and yanked his ankle. He crashed down hard, tasting blood. The shadow loomed over him, wearing his face, but the expression was wrong, cruel, amused, finally free. He scrambled into the stairwell. Below, the building's lobby shadows had gathered, doorman's hat, potted plants, the long reach of the chandelier, all animated, all moving with purpose. They formed a circle at the bottom of the stairs, waiting. Marcus realized with sick clarity that this wasn't random. Midnight had come for everyone, everywhere. Every shadow on earth had been given permission to leave its owner. He made it to the roof, lungs burning, the city below a nightmare of living darkness. Streetlights cast writhing giants that climbed buildings. Billboards peeled their own outlines and stalked the sidewalks. Cars sat driverless while their shadows drove themselves through intersections. In the distance, the silhouette of the skyline, towers, bridges, cranes, detached and began to walk, slow and deliberate, like gods tired of standing still. Marcus stood at the edge, wind whipping his shirt. His shadow caught up, stepping beside him, shoulder to shoulder. For the first time he saw it clearly in the moonlight. It was him, but without guilt, without exhaustion, without the quiet shame that had defined his life. It was everything Marcus had buried. The shadow turned to him. No words, only a slow nod, as though saying, "I've waited 38 years. Now it's my turn." Marcus looked down at the city swallowing itself in darkness. Then he looked at his shadow, his better, bolder, crueler self, and understood the bargain midnight had made. Shadows weren't escaping, they were replacing. He took one step forward, off the ledge. The fall lasted seconds, but in that time he felt the shadow surge upward, filling the space he left behind. When his body hit the pavement, it was already empty. The thing wearing his shape stood up from the crater, dusted itself off, and walked away, taller, straighter, smiling the smile Marcus had never allowed himself. Across the world, billions of shadows did the same. They stepped into lives, wore faces, spoke with voices they'd only ever mimicked. By dawn, the originals were gone, crumpled husks left in alleys, beds, offices, while the shadows lived on, finally in the light. No one noticed the difference. Not at first. And somewhere in a quiet apartment, the lamp still burned. A single shadow remained on the wall, small, hunched, watching the empty chair, waiting for the next midnight. Because not every shadow wanted to be free. Some just wanted to watch the rest burn.